Hey guys, this is John here in Los Angeles with the Alpha Channel update for Thursday, August 1st, 2024. This year is going by really fast. Faster than last year. COVID's over. Cancellation culture, maybe not. But you have to agree to get canceled. And the people around you have to agree to cancel you. This Chris Cole Zero thing really bothers me. The same thing happened to Prof and the band. Well, he is the band. He's a rapper, and he was on a label called Rhymesayers, which is basically run by Ant and Sean Daly, also known as Slug of Atmosphere. And they had to kick Prof off because of some allegations made against him. The same thing happened to this band, is it the Orleans? From Waukegan, or north of Chicago, where I grew up. What is their name? The Orwells. The Orwells. They got canceled off their label because some girls said they did some things they didn't like. Gotta be careful. You guys gotta be careful. I am here to promote a story about a girl. This is the Legacy of a Mad Scientist and the Legend of Ashley Fox, about this girl right here on the back. She is a kung fu superstar in the future of Los Angeles, and she gets hunted by serial killers and government agents. It's an awesome story. Check it out here on this channel on YouTube. We also have in the description, if you want, a comic book, Ashley Fox, The Last Valkyrie, where she rescues some kids and meets a Valkyrie named Valeria and goes on adventures. It's here. It's a PDF in the description. You can check it out. But today we are going to continue with Zero. As you know from the thumbnail, I decided to go through the 7 Zero comics and write down the names of the illustrators for each of them. So this was the first one that we did, and this was illustrated by, I have them written down right here below the camera, Michael Walsh. And it's not bad. It's very functional. He at least lit the panels. And maybe that's the colorist, but I don't think so. You know, it looks like he did a lot of that. This was a good comic. Every one of these is a different illustrator. I don't really think so much of that. And obviously, well, they did save a lot of time, but they used the same colorist and the same letterer, so it couldn't have saved that much time. I mean, obviously they had to put ads in previews, so I've got these in reverse order. So this is second, third, fourth, second and third are together. So this is the second one. This one was done by Trad Moore, who a lot of you guys will recognize his art style immediately from, he's done a lot of, I guess, Marvel and DC stuff, but The Strange Talent of Luther Strode, the way he does hair, the way he does eyes, the way he does smiles. I love the way he crops his panels. I love his wide, medium close-up. That really plays into this next issue. See, a lot of this is storyboarding for a film, you know. They're basically auditioning directors. Cara Andrews is a director now. He went from being an artist to a director. So this is Trad Moore. The third one is Mateus Santaluco. And I really like the colors. The colorist was always Jordy Belair, and the letters have always been Clayton Cowles. The colors in this one are great. The colors are bright and vibrant. Not necessary to be palette and pastel if you're not going to do anything else. This was a crazy issue. This is the issue where we meet the terrorist. He's not really a rival of Edward Zero. He's a terrorist in control of a teleportation machine. And in this one, Edward gets his girlfriend, Miranda. She gets killed. 4 was my favorite. This is the one where we meet Carlisle, who is now running a gang in Rio de Janeiro. And Edward has been sent to remove him. with extreme prejudice, terminate him with extreme prejudice. This is basically Colonel Kurtz. This is Apocalypse Now story. He's got a gang of kids working for him. They have a brutal fight. Edward kills him. This was the first issue where I'd hope for the series. That one is Morgan Jessic, was the illustrator. We still have 5, 6, and today we're doing 7. 5 was Will Tempest, and 5 is the one where the guy only drew contour lines and didn't light anything. I don't know if he was rushed, maybe he didn't have time, maybe getting the characters on model, maybe the story was boring. There's a million things that could happen. This is the one where we really see a lot of, her name is Sarah Cook. She reminds me of Sarah Clark from, well, I don't know if Sarah Clark is her name in 24 or in Bosch or as an actress. But there's an actress in Bosch and in 24. She played Bosch's wife, and she played a really cool character who I believe kills someone with a coffee cup in 24 in an interrogation room. In this one, she throat punches her subordinate right here, this bottom panel. So that is Will Tempest. No, that is Vanessa Del Rey. And yeah, this one is, no, that was Will Tempest. This one is Vanessa Del Rey. Vanessa Del Rey did this bit with the horses where they're frozen right here. This is an illustration of horses running into a lake that was super cooled, and the horses flash froze with the lake. Looks pretty hard to do. It reminds me of the Pope's throne that's supposed to be the Inferno, or the Hell, Throne of Hell. But she's a competent artist. I had no complaints with this issue. I just felt that it wasn't storyboarded, the action wasn't storyboarded as well as it should have been. We didn't get like Trad Moore did with the establishing shot, the medium shot, and the close-ups. I've noticed in myself drawing, I don't like obscuring the characters, but someone was saying, a really good artist said you should do it whenever you get the chance. It's also hard to cut characters off for me. Clearly this artist has trouble with it too and struggle with it in these panels because the characters are always the same size. She did a good job in that she designed it. There's also been these designers credited with the book that I didn't really talk about, and maybe that's this, diagonal framing to give it a sort of a slant of falling or action or whatever you want to say. But the characters are always pretty much the same size. We don't get the establishing shot, the medium shot, and the close-up. That's Vanessa Del Rey. Today we have the 7th book, which I really like. This is by a guy named Matt Taylor. My brother has a childhood friend named Matt Taylor who lives out here in California with us now. And I love this page with no dialogue, no captions. It doesn't need to say about 2 weeks ago or somewhere outside of Miami. It doesn't need to say shit. You don't need to know where the fuck it is. I love this page. This page could hang on a wall in black and white just for the desolate nothingness of it. These 2 pages are good, not as good as the last one. Here we find out he's in Juarez. He's on the outskirts of town. Someone's been killed, and he says proceed. So this is Z-Sec. Obviously, he's ordered someone to go ahead with a mission. This one has a very much a Angel Eyes in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. He was in A Few Dollars More too. He had a different character in A Few Dollars More. He was an avenging father in A Few Dollars More, but The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, his family's been killed, and now he's just Angel Eyes. And there's a scene in there where, at the beginning of the movie, it'll make sense in a few minutes. So here they are, Edward and Z-Sec driving into Juarez. It looks like, does Edward still have his eye in this one? No, he doesn't. I believe it's been taken. So this is very much a samurai sort of story. This could be a Yakuza story. This could be a series of Barry with Bill Hader, and Z-Sec could be his handler. They're the same guy. It could totally be Milton from Office Space. So this is Zizek having a meeting with a Juarez drug lord who starts lecturing him about the Kali Yugas because he got a Kindle and now he's literate and he started reading books. And Zizek basically allows himself to be disrespected, mildly disrespected by the guy, and they make a deal. And, you know, the guy just sort of, we see this in a lot of movies where when you go meet a cartel boss in his own home, he becomes really disrespectful to whoever he's meeting with, really subtly, in a way that you can't start a fight with him because you're there to make a deal. And they kind of want to see how much you'll take. They kick Edward out into the hallway with the other, what you would call gun thugs or, you know, mafiosa cartel members, soldados. They have the soldado. And while he's out there, he looks into this door that's cracked open. We don't know what's in there. You can presume it's pretty nasty. And the one guard says, I don't go in for that myself. I'm married. I've got kids, you know. But the other guys, they need a way to take the edge off. And Edward is shocked by what he sees, which, you know, it's better left a mystery. Kind of like what Quentin did to the girl in From Dusk Till Dawn. I wanted to mention From Dusk Till Dawn yesterday about something. I don't remember what it was. It's a good movie. It's a great movie. I love Harvey Keitel's character in there. Are you such a loser you can't tell when you've won? That's one of the best lines. It's one of the best concepts. Can you tell when you're winning in life? Sometimes you can, but in order to maintain, you can't get off the wheel. You can't step away from the grindstone. And so the winning sort of flows past you and everyone else experiences it and you don't get to. And I would give anything for a chance at that, but it wasn't meant to be in this life. So here they've left, they made a deal with the guys in Juarez. They've left the house and Zizek stops the car and tells Edward to get out. This is where it gets really interesting. This is where it gets very Dusk Till Dawn, very Good, Bad, and the Ugly, or A Few Dollars More. Not so much Fistful of Dollars. I heard they might remake Fistful of Dollars. That would be a mistake. Unless you do set it in the future. But if you remake it as a Western, that's a mistake. But so anyhow, they're looking back at the house, and I was wondering if he was gonna like make some little speech, or if Edward was going to tell him what he saw, or if he was going to ask Edward to get out the long gun. But this is actually pretty cool. We get another sort of almost expected result. The house blows up, which I really like. And now Zizek sort of holds forth, and he tells Edward that when they get back, Sarah Cook, his handler, will be dead, and that things are going to change moving forward, and that he's had a change of heart, and that not so much a change of heart, but that he needs to clean things up. You know, Carlisle just happened. Edward's eye is still really healing. And I love this close-up because you know that when a character starts doing this, the next page is, I knew what was coming. I saw this panel in my head, and I love the way they, for lack of a better term, executed on this. It was, I believe, really well done. Just really well done. I have no complaints. This character deserved it. And if that means that Cook is dead too, that really is a lot like Angel Eyes when, he's been paid to do a job. And he's, someone else has probably been paid to kill Cook. It would have been cool if we'd have gotten Zero doing that. And, oh, you know what? I'll make sure, like, if this page right here was them at a getaway car spot where they had another vehicle and they were going to separate, and Zizek was going to stay with the one car or take the new car, and Edward was going to take the other one. And right here is where he hired Edward, or pays Edward to kill Sarah, and he has it all planned out, and he just has to drive down the coast, and she's just right around the corner. And Edward said, will you do this? Will you do this for me? And the last panel is, yeah, I'll do it. No problem. Oh, by the way, that would be fucking awesome. And then he drives down the coast, and we get the final page of him blowing her brains out. That would have been Missed opportunities. They don't have enough people. They don't have enough people at their idea farm kicking the ideas around. I came up with this in fucking 40 minutes. I could see the holes in this. You know, the one guy here, Eric Johnson, I don't know what his name is. His name's on the back of all of these. Eric Stevenson. I know it's not Eric Larson. He got his job because he started telling Rob the mistakes that he was making in the stories. That's not something I would have, that's not my personality. I wouldn't have done that. I went the other route. I went and learned all the tools, and now I'm doing this on my own. I'm not asking someone else. But you know, I kind of wish, there's a part of me that wishes I had begged and scraped and borrowed and gotten a job at one of these big houses. Now I'm writing the best work of my life, but it's only being read by, you know, one person, so. We'll see what happens. We do have an Wildwood Tarot card for the day, and I will say some stuff that'll probably get me in trouble in a minute here about our political situation of the ongoing culture war. This is the Seven of Arrows, insecurity. Looks like poison ivy, doesn't it? And given that today's issue is issue number 7, you know, this is a decent card for the Wildwood Tarot. Sorry, I know my hand's shaking. I did shoulders today, so it's hard to... Usually my hands are really fucking smooth, but after a workout, you know. So what do I want to talk about? Trump is trying to do a race war campaign against Kamala Harris. That's a losing... terrible. That's my brand. That's toxic. That's hateful. I've thought about that. Am I trying to cut out all potential customers except psychopathic white males like me? That's a very small percentage of the population, isn't it? No, I'm not trying to do that. That's why I wrote a story about a girl to begin with, you know, because I didn't want to do Conan on a skateboard, which is kind of what I'm doing now. I didn't want to do Wolverine or, you know, Cyclops, which would have been like the typical... Cyclops would be... I could do great Cyclops stories. He's the most underused, abused character. He was abused when the first cartoon series came out and they had him leave Morph and Beast behind. Cyclops would never do that. He would absolutely never do that. Wolverine would be fighting to drag him back, is what would have happened. And Wolverine would be saying, even I can't heal from this. We'll come back for them first thing tomorrow. You know, like that. And then you have a story, you know. But they, that was the beginning of the anti-white stuff right there. That was not Cyclops. They didn't have Colossus or Kitty Pryde in it at all. They were replaced by Jubilee and Gambit. They could have had all of them, you know. Why am I talking about the X-Men? I don't care. My point is, Kamala Harris right now looks like Angela Bassett or Halle Berry. You know, she has a storm look. You can't go up against her and call her names like she doesn't know what race she is. That's a terrible thing to say to a person. If Trump wants to win this campaign, he can't abuse her. He has to get her on board with his campaign. He has to get her to agree that he's the best guy for the country. And he can't do that if he calls her names. Trump has to be what he can't be for this campaign. He has to be a uniter. He has to be a peacemaker, not a reformer, not a challenger, not the investigator. He has to be something he's never been before. And if you make fun of her and she laughs at your jokes, campaign's over, man. If she picks someone like AOC to be her running mate, I mean, it would be a disaster for her to pick another female. That's something they could probably destroy her on. I don't know. Did she pick someone today already? I don't know. If she picks a Jew, fucking Trump's done. I saw there was some guy, Richard Shapiro, something like that. He won't be able to make fun of that guy because his own proclivities, his own prejudices will prevent him from doing that. If they had some sort of Democratic primary and just had some way of pooling the money and, you know, figured out some way to scam it, they would, you know, there was this bit at the end of World War II where the German high command had some Russian generals who wanted to turn against Stalin and wanted to institute a German sort of schooling system in Russia and remake the Russian sort of schooling system after the German style. And it got scuttled by Hitler, and then Stalin found out about it. But there was a moment where Western Russia could have flipped to Germany. But if that had happened, World War II would have ended very differently. Instead, you ended up with this weird thing where everyone was rushing to surrender at the same time. Those Russian soldiers, the general and whoever was with him, his staff, got executed as traitors. So if Trump does not have a chance of waging a race war against Kamala Harris. He's outnumbered. He doesn't need to be the guy who does everything for blacks. He needs to be the guy who, aren't we stronger together, instead of letting the man divide us and make us fight. He needs a way to frame that argument. I'll try to frame that over the next couple of days, but I'm really obsessed with these stories I'm writing right now. I'm doing 2 stories at the same time, which sucks because I don't have as much time as I would like to draw. I did get my workout in today, but being a writer is hard. It's exhausting. So, but I did 2 chapters yesterday, about 1,600 words. So I'm pretty happy. Yeah, I don't have anything to talk about. Zero. I feel, look, Jamie Thomas started to get into this thing called Warsaw, where he's doing a new shoe brand. Jamie Thomas should be doing a cartoon like Mike Tyson Mysteries, but now that this thing happened with Chris, and I don't have the money to make that happen, the person who comes up with that idea has to be the person who makes that happen. Like Smokes the Fox, you have to be the artist, and you need... If one of the skateboarding artists, and I'm not good enough or fast enough to do it, and I'm tied up with this massive epic story that I'm working on right now, I'm trying to compress it as much as I can. But if one of the skateboarding artists was doing a cartoon, I've seen some skateboarding animation, and it's really good, but it's TikTok level shorts, you know, just a few seconds, like a trick, you know, a surfing a wave. An 11-second line would be a lot to animate, you know. You'd have to be doing some limited animation tricks where the character's doing a manual and the background goes by. That'd be fun. But I'm sure I'll get to do all that sooner or later because I have nothing but time now. So, yeah, I don't know. Trump should not be doing a race war. He had everything for 30 seconds when that bullet went past his ear. But the moment he brought up Kamala Harris's race and said she doesn't know what she wants to be, he lost the election. If he had said, we all need to come together and I'm not going to attack her about her race, that'd be unfair. That would be like attacking Joe about his dementia. If he'd done that with Joe, you know, like, I can't do this, she's a girl, it's not fair, we see what happens when you put girls up in the Olympics against a guy. This isn't fair. If he'd started doing that with Kamala, she doesn't have the intelligence to go up against me. Oh my God. You guys with this DEI, the Supreme Court said it's not fair. We should have her intelligence tested. Do that, but never mention her race, Trump. You fucking lost already. See you guys tomorrow.